couldn't believe that it had never been done in London, or rather it had been done in London for a week run as part of a tour, but that was over 20 years ago.
She wrote it in 1987, just after Thatcher won her third election. She was furious at the time that Thatcher had won her third election. I played Margaret Thatcher and I'm now playing Elizabeth, and she's sort of, in her introduction she's sort of saying Elizabeth is not Margaret Thatcher, but there is a sort of parallel about women in power. So I hope that it'll open a lot of questions rather than give a lot of answers. It's fantastic, first of all, to have a play that's written by a woman with two really interesting female protagonists.
This epic historical story, which, if you look at Game of Thrones and all of these things, it just trumps it. It's such a better story than all of the things that you can get in fiction, and it's real.
Well, the first time I read the play, I realised how little I knew about Scotland.
It's sort of like a rottenness to everything.
I also thought it was very funny. It's really hilarious.
It is kind of a timeless piece.
First time I've done a rehearsal of any play where we've spent so much time dissecting it, analysing it.
It's just an absolutely brilliant script. It's really poetic but really dramatic and quite down and dirty as well, so it's brilliant.
It's impossible not to have a reaction to a lot of that, the language and the relationships.
Because I was brought up in Glasgow, I immediately had an affinity with the language because, you know, they talked like they were my mum and dad, you know, squabbling with each other.
My gran, she's now deceased, but she spoke like that. Now and again, little bits, you know, oh, we've been in the scullery and tells a time in that note, you know, there'll be little bits of Scots dialect still there, so we can work out the pronunciation from some of that, but it's a bit, yeah, it's a bit of a research topic, going back and looking at exactly how people spoke then.
And I'm literally going around with Scottish dialect in my ears at the moment, trying to nail it.
It's really fun for me and the actors because there's all this historical detail that we can find out because they were all real people. John Knox and Mary's husband, second husband Darnley, and third husband the Earl of Bothwell. But then also sometimes you've got to put the history aside and find your own way into the character to put it on stage.
The Scottish diaspora in London will love it.
Audiences will be surprised at how modern the story seems.
Women trying to make it in a really, really tough man's world.
Men being intimidated by women in power.
Bullying, politics.
Lust, nostalgia.
There's this cliche that history is written by the victors, and that's very much the case for Elizabeth and Mary. And when you actually look into the history, you find out that Mary was a very astute politician and a very clever woman, and the way she's come down to us through history is as a bit of a fool for love, maybe jumping into bed with lots of different men. Occasionally people have even represented her as a witch. So it's really nice to redress the balance a little bit, and to look at these two very interesting women. If you made it up, you'd think it was completely over the top.
There's everything in it. I mean, there's sex, there's passion and politics, and yeah.